Q50, 2025. As of right now, they should be scrapping this car. I should not hear, we're coming out with a new 2025 Q50. No, 10 years. So what are they going to think about doing? Right now, they come out the QX80, and in the last 5 years, all they've been doing is bringing out trucks. And I have not seen a hybridization of any vehicle since then. The QX55, the QX60, and the QX80. I have not seen it. And guys, welcome everybody back to Boost Motion, guys. And today, I'm going to talk about it. Yes, the Q50 is officially dead. It has been confirmed there will be no 2025 Infiniti Q50. So guys, let's jump into the video. First thing, I appreciate you guys for joining the channel. It's been such a minute. I really don't upload that much, but I do want to talk about it. The news is out. Yes, guys, our Q50s are officially dinosaurs. And I'm going to be using this article called "The Infiniti Q50 was a born disappointment, but it's a dying underground legend." And I want to send off the Q50 right. I think we should definitely do it. This channel grew a lot because of the Infiniti Q50, and I think a lot of us has either started off in Q50s, driven these cars a little bit, and went and graduated to something else. Like myself, I went to the BMW world, I went to the Benz world, but doesn't mean I still don't love this car, and I think it was still a great all-around car. So guys, let's jump into it. So as our article sits there and says, it is uncommon for a car to end production in a better place than when it started, but ever so often it does happen, thanks to great facelifts. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I think the 2018 look definitely made this car look good. And I'm talking about we're in 2024 and this car still looks good. It's just journalistic practice to drop a quote when big news like this drops. So in the words of Infiniti Communications manager Marlin, yes, confirming 2024 is the last model year of the Q50. Whoo! All right. So as it says right here, so the Universal was the dislike for the steering and braking dynamics that log book entries frequently declared them not yet ready for prime time. Specifically, full electric drive-by-wire DAS. Guys, remember this is one of the first cars on the market with electronic steer. Yeah, I know. 10 years ago, came under fire for being completely devoid of feedback and feel, and also for being absurdly quick even on standard settings. But it's crazy that over the last 10 years, a lot more cars have adopted this electronic steering and they find ways to mitigate it. So the public has gotten a lot used to cars coming with electric drive-by-wire systems, and we just choose to accept it. But this car has gotten a lot of scrutiny of when it first came out, right? Okay, okay. The brakes, on the other hand, were grabby with harsh transitions from regenerative mode to friction back braking under harder acceleration. They're not talking about this. Is talking about the hybrids. They're talking about the hybrid right now, the 2014 hybrid, making it nearly impossible to modulate them under any stability. As enthusiasts as we knew, many of the elements required to make the decent chassis were in place. So the Q50S over anxiously steering and braking behavior has particularly miffed. All right, guys. So they're talking right there about the 2014 Infiniti Q50 hybrid. This is a long time ago, right? And then they jump into the 2016 model. While the new 2-liter twin, oh god, they really made a I forgot. We had a Mercedes 2-liter turbo motor that was made for the Q50, and they scrapped that after a certain time. So while a new 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder base engine was nothing to write home about for much of the range, Infiniti pulled a VQ37 V6 and dropped it for his twin-turbo 3-liter VR30, guys. And I remember when this car came out, this car was the hottest thing on the block. I mean, there wasn't much cars out there who can deliver this type of performance, even with a JB4 before tuning for everything came big. And this car was out here beating a lot of other American cars. And we're talking about in 2016, before a lot of American cars like really started making, you know, like, yes, Hellcats was out. I get it. But like a lot of big name other cars wasn't really out there making twin turbo cars yet. So other than the B58, which was still kind of out, people were still on the N54, N55 wave. They wasn't on the B58 wave at that time, right? All right. Okay. But everyone knows that where turbos exist, torque exists, and the way of turning up the wick substantially is easily found. Oh, and that's before you even mention the Red Sport trim. They're right, man. Red Sport. Unsurprisingly, after being deprived of the turbocharged rear-wheel drive Nissan Motorsports product since its 300ZX, American tuners took to revitalizing the Infiniti Q50 like moth to the flame. Burger Tuning, or BMS, found that this engine would make 421 horsepower at the tires with cone-style intakes, upgraded intercooler, heat exchanger, piggy bank tune, a blend of V30. AMS Performance took things even further, going downtown and making 600 wheel horsepower packages, resulting in an assuming sedan that can beat up on Hellcats. Yes, I beat up on Hellcats with this Q50, man. People have pushed this platform to 9-second mile passes, an astonishing feat considering the bones of the chassis date back to the early 2000s. Oof, this chassis is old, guys. Oh, and as time went on, it became easier and easier to buy the high-spec Infiniti Q50 without having to deal with dreadful steer-by-wire, since it still rides on Nissan's FM platform. It's easy enough to get one of these cars to handle well, because the biggest limiting factor is simply how well you can parse an online parts catalog. Yes, guys, you have a lot of suspension and parts that you can actually get for this car. This is a tuner's dream. Sure, the Q50 wasn't the greatest sports sedan out the box, yes, but with a bit of ingenuity, coupled with a mindful mid-cycle engine update, eventually made it a tuner's darling, yes. Exactly what you would expect was essentially a rebranded Skyline. In many ways, it was a last vestige of Infiniti we knew and loved in the 2000s, which is why we're sorry to see it go. At least some of its bones live on in the Nissan Z, even if the rakish coupe isn't nearly as stealthy as the Q50. Guys, I'm smiling because it's a heartfelt feeling I have for this car, man. It's a heartfelt feeling. This car, it was an amazing car, man. It made this channel. It made me smile. I had the 3.7. I had the 3.0T. And anybody who has gotten this car, there was a rush. You were happy that we owned this car. A lot of the first owners who had got this, and as second owners too. Now these cars are a lot more affordable, and I'm really happy for the young guys that are, the young guys who just started getting into money, getting their jobs, and this car is a dream car, and now they can finally obtain it for about under $20,000, and they could have a 500 horsepower car. That is unnamed, unheard of. When I was 18, 19, you couldn't afford to get a car that had 500 horsepower. To make it this easy, it wasn't a thing. And now you can go spend that amount of money and have the accessibility so easy and so quick. And over the years, more products and more parts have come out for this platform. You've had companies like he said, AMS Performance, Z1 Motorsports. You have tuners like Racebox, Sonic Tune, AMS, Z1 Motorsports. The list goes on and on with people who've tuned these cars. You have big turbos that came out. You have different heat exchanger companies. Shout out to you have AMS. You have AAM. You have AM Performance. Burger Tuning. It's astounding how much parts came out for this car, and to see that the barrier of entry of performance is there. Yes, guys, it may not be a B58. I get it. We tipped our hats off to B58s. They're the better motor. We understand that. They have a better platform. We get that. But for a Japanese car, this car has set the stage. It has set the standard. Yes, it has its gremlins. Yes, it has its issues. But man, this was one great car that you can get rear-wheel drive. You can get all-wheel drive. You can get 4-cylinder, which I don't know why I don't want to get, but they did. You got a 3.7. You also got it hybrid. And you could get all of those variations in all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Yes, with the standard 7-speed automatic, but come on, man. And cheap lease rates. Whew, man. This car was great, and I gotta just send this car off with a salute, man. Salute, man. As I said about 2 months ago, this car, they need to move on. They better not come out 2025. But now, knowing that it's confirmed, it's making me a little bit emotional, man. I know some of you guys had a hard time with this vehicle. Some of you guys had to change motors because of this vehicle. Some of you guys had to change so much to make this car perform. But when you got it right, this car was beautiful. And no matter where you went, everybody loved the look of this car. This car's lines look good from the front, the side, and the rear end. This car did it. And it became part of the hood rat type of car where people do, I hate to say, robbery and theft and a lot of hood rat shit in it too, which is not good. It didn't help out the community. Like, I mean, these cars became part of, I would say, almost all the motorsports. I mean, the only thing I haven't seen these cars do technically is, actual track, like actually going on an actual proper racetrack. But I mean, that's left for more of the cup type of guys. But nonetheless, these cars perform. And you can give this to your grandmom, you can give this to your son, or you can drive this as a daily. And you can have a quick car that can beat on 392s. If you want to add some more power and some turbos, it could beat up on some Hellcats, And oh man, it was a stoplight warrior, boy. I'm sorry, man. I gotta give it to this car, man. I gotta give it to you. I gotta give it to it, man. It did its thing, man. It did its thing. So, it's sad to see it go, but what is in the future for the Q50? We don't know. We don't know what Infiniti's gonna do. They've been talking about hybridization, whatever, or electrifying their fleet. But seeing what other auto manufacturers are choosing not to do now, they're knowing that there's no money in EVs, and they know EVs are really costly and expensive, and there's just not enough there's not enough infrastructure for EVs right now. I don't see Infiniti making the next Q50 electric, all electric. Maybe they'll give us some kind of hybrid vehicle. Maybe they will. But seeing the trucks that they've been making recently, because pretty much the Q50 is the last sedan that they have, the last car they have. So everything else will be trucks. After seeing what they did with the QX80, and the last one was the QX60, and where they're kind of going, and they got rid of the VQ30, the 3.5 VQ motor recently this year, so they won't be coming out with that. So I'm kind of confused if they got rid of the 3.5 motor. What is the next QX60 motor supposed to be? You get what I'm saying? That has a 3.5 VQ motor with a 9-speed transmission. And if they're getting rid of the DE, I don't know if it's this year or next year. What motor is the QX60 gonna get next year? Now that car just came out, and they had recalls on the smaller like QX50, QX55 with the 2-liter or whatever 1.5-liter motor, whatever motor that is, a variable compression ratio motor. So Infiniti has to now go back in its parts bin, and now they recently just talked about with the Ultimas that they're cutting Ultimas, they've already cut Maximas, and they're cutting the Sentras, I believe, right? Either Versas or Sentras. You guys can correct me. I have a video talking about it. They're not even gonna have the turbocharged 4-cylinder motor for the Ultimas anymore. So yeah, man. Infiniti and Nissan is changing up everything. So we don't know what they're gonna do. I would love to see it as a dream, as a wish list, that they come out with another QX60 and drop that 3.5 VR motor in there. Stop playing with us, and give us a nice, decent sports car. It don't have to be an M5 killer, but somewhere right around the range of a M440. You know what I'm saying? Or if they want to come out with another Q50, they might rename it something else and drop that 3.5 VR30 in it, so we can compete with a M340. Don't try to compete with the M cars. You're not there. They don't have enough money to throw at it. All right. But outside of that, guys, you guys have a good morning, good afternoon, and good night, man. This was news that I knew was coming soon enough, and it came. Pause no Diddy. Other side of that, guys, I really appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Thank you.